day, my name is Roland Jones and welcome back to Talking Business with ICAP. Today we want to discuss the Employment Rights Act and some key aspects of employment legislation in Barbados. So let's dig right in. The Employment Rights Act now serves as the key piece of employment law in Barbados with a goal to create a fair and transparent framework for employer-employee relations. Some key provisions of the ERA or Employment Rights Act include unfair dismissal protections. The Act stipulates that employees who have completed a continuous period of 1 year in service cannot be unfairly dismissed. Employers must show a valid reason related to conduct, capability, redundancy, or another substantial factor. The Act also has the right to written contracts. Employers are required to provide employees with a written statement of terms and conditions, ensuring clarity on matters such as pay, working hours, and leave entitlements. The Act also covers redundancy and severance pay. It provides guidelines on redundancy, including consultation procedures and fair compensation for affected employees. The Act defines an independent body called the Employment Rights Tribunal, which, under the Act, ensures employees have access to justice in cases of unfair treatment. The Employment Rights Act strengthens worker protections while balancing employer rights, reinforcing the principle that employment relations must be built on fairness and due process. So whilst the ERA or Employment Rights Act is a key piece which every employer and employee should know, there are other relevant legislation related to employment practices and relations. For example, the Protection of Wages Act. This act ensures that employees are paid in legal tender and restricts unauthorized deductions. Employers must comply with wage payment regulations and avoid unfair financial penalties imposed on employees. There is also the Employment Sexual Harassment Prevention Act. This legislation protects employees from workplace harassment, mandating that employers establish clear reporting and resolution mechanisms. Companies need to adopt strict anti-harassment policies to ensure a safe work environment. Many businesses enforce internal ethics policies to ensure compliance with legal and regulatory standards, including guidelines on conflicts of interest, confidentiality, and fair treatment of employees. Barbados also has agreements such as the BITT agreement with Luxembourg that influence labor policies, ensuring businesses operate in an environment conducive to fair labor practices. So, in conclusion, employment laws in Barbados are evolving to reflect global best practices in worker protections, employer obligations, and ethical conduct. While compliance is key, fostering a workplace culture that upholds these principles voluntarily, not just legally, leads to a cohesive and motivated workforce, which can result in a stronger business in a more competitive economic environment. Thank you again for listening to Talking Business with ICAP. I am Roland Jones.